So I thought I'd do a video on like a kind of workshop tour thing. It's a fairly significant week because this is the last week we'll be operating out of this building. So this is kind of the last time it'll be as it is. From today things will start to change, and from Wednesday it'll probably look quite different in it altogether. So I thought I'd do like a workshop tour video. So where to start, really? It doesn't seem very big anymore, but it did when I first moved in. When I first moved in, I had like, a few bits of racking, a few bits of stock on it, my bench, my welder, and that was it. But of course, things grow over time. Got the pallet racking quite quickly. That was quite important because it meant, I always want to try and be really efficient with space. So the pallet racking was really important. That, it's easy. It's far easier to grow kind of upwards than outwards. If you start losing floor space quite quickly, you end up, with just nowhere to work. So I really wanted to get that up. That's quite important. That's where we store all of the mandrel bends, all of the jigs, and then kind of got that lighter weight stock up the top, so like all our boxes and bubble wrap bags and stuff like that. And then we use this lift in the doorway. This is the one in the doorway that we use mainly for kind of fitting, or usually something that shouldn't be long term. Tend to try and use the blue lift in the middle of the workshop for that long term work, like development or project. But Warren's car has been parked on here for a fair bit recently. Again, just because we generally just run out of room. And then the doorway also becomes a bit of a dumping area because it's kind of closest to the bin. So again, like the workshop at the minute is about as messy as it probably ever gets, and it's pretty much because we're at a point now where you just tend to think, fuck it, we're going to be gone in a week or so it doesn't really matter too much. So we tend to do like all the packing in the doorway here, and then that all goes kind of on that racking, and then DHL pick that up at the end of the day. Again, we've got more like storage up the top there. That's where we store all our kind of loose fill and bubble wrap. Again, it's a bit unorganised at the minute. There's usually a fair bit more up there, but again, trying to at the minute run down on stock if we can, so it's less stuff to move at the end of the week. We've got like more tube storage up the top there. That's kind of that was born out of necessity. Just simply ran out of room for putting tube and things. Like literally just cardboard box storage for boxes that we use, daily. I think once you start getting to a point where you're starting to get through, like 20 or 30 boxes in a day, you have to actually store quite a lot of boxes, and that can take up quite a considerable amount of room. So it's stuff that, it's really like boring stuff you don't really want to store. You don't really want to stock cardboard boxes, but you just have to. And then we've got like all our abrasives, so like hole saws and cutting discs, like flat discs, all the stuff we use for kind of general abrasive work. It's in a bit of a crap position there, really. Really, we'd want that really close to the abrasives room where we do all our grinding. So that's something that will change in the new workshop. We'll get a bit more efficient with that. I tend to not like having cars stuck in the middle of the workshop as well. I tend to like, if there's a car in here, it's up on the lift out the way. If it's up on the lift out the way, that means you've still got all your floor space. Floor space is like the most valuable space, I always think, because it allows you to spread out on a job you're working on. If you haven't got any floor space to spread around into, you end up kind of always bashing things with your elbows, or not being able to turn around with a piece of tube in your hands. Toolbox, kind of mid position in the workshop. Again, for working on lifts, it's good to have tools to hand. But it is on wheels. But again, that's another thing with these bigger toolboxes. The bigger toolbox you go for, you're literally never going to move it. By the time you got like 500-600 kilos of tools in there, you're just never going to move it. So I don't know why they bother putting them on wheels, really. So then coming a bit further down into the workshop, we end up with got like a bandsaw. That's what we use for cutting all of our bends on, any kind of intricate cuts we need to do, they all get done on the bandsaw. You'll see that loads in all of our videos. That's kind of used for pretty much making about everything we make. And then on the other side we've got compressor, cold saw and a vertical bandsaw. So the vertical bandsaw is really good for cutting aluminium sheet, or again doing kind of intricate cuts that you can't really do with a fixed workpiece. The beauty of the vertical bandsaw is it allows you to manipulate the piece around the blade, and on the horizontal bandsaw the piece is fixed and the blade is only got one motion of travel, which is down. So with the vertical bandsaw you can do quite a lot of cool things by like positioning your work differently. And then the cold saw, we just use that's just purely for like mandrel bend production. We cut all of the like blanks down on that, so we'll take a 6 meter length of tube and we'll cut it down into like 20 sections maybe, and we'll do that like 50 times, and that gets us, you know, hundreds of blanks. Again, you can see that's what we're doing here, and then they get loaded into the mandrel bender and bent, and that's a massive side of the business now. So that's something that again will grow as we get into a new big space. So we've got the horizontal bandsaw, and that's what we use for cutting down like all the bends and things like that. So if we're like cutting bends along the centre line or anything like that, things in fixtures, something where you really need to hold the workpiece and you get a really accurate cut, that's what we use that for. And that's like a pretty vital piece of equipment. You know, it's one of those things where it's quite an investment, but it's like a buy once, buy right kind of thing with that, definitely. Then we've got the cold saw, which again is another similar one of those pieces of equipment, really. You know, they are a good investment, but if you buy right, you hopefully only buy once, and that's it. But yeah, we use that for cutting down all of the tube for making mandrel bends. So at the minute we're in progress with making 1.75 inch bends, so we cut down lots of blanks from 6 meter lengths, and then turn them into big boxes of bends like this. Big boxes of bends, all the bees. That's alliteration. And then we have the vertical bandsaw, which is what we use mainly for like cutting down like sheet aluminium or hoses, loads of really random stuff which you can do on a vertical bandsaw. Because you're holding the workpiece, the really unique thing about the vertical bandsaw is it allows you to manipulate around the blade that you kind of can't really do with the cold saw or with the horizontal bandsaw. You are governed by what the by how the workpiece is fixed. So yeah, we've got like tube storage across there. This is something that has been pretty much a problem for like 2 years now, really. We didn't initially set up the workshop well, made a few kind of errors in terms of how we set the workshop up, and from then on storing 50, 60, 6 meter lengths of tube did become a bit of a problem. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to solving, because of the Fabco side of the business, we sell so much tube now and so many bends that, you know, we need to have it all in stock. You know, we can't have people waiting for things like that, and there's no excuses for not having things like that in stock. So yeah, we've got the bender, which is you know, the kind of main piece of equipment in the workshop. This is, you know, for exhaust fabrication you need bent tube, so if you can do that in house, it's a massive advantage. It's something that kind of traditionally is only really done by like the bigger name companies. They'll be the only companies that really kind of manufacture their own tube and do their own tube bending in house. So pretty proud to be able to say that we can do that. Again, it was another big investment, but something that was definitely worth doing, purely because of the ability it gives you. You know, you're no longer relying on other people to provide your mandrel bends or your bent sections. You can do it all yourself. You can keep control of the quality, and because that's something that's really important, the quality side of things, you know, the more we can do in house, the better. Obviously, we've got like the fabrication area, the welding area, which is, you know, you've probably seen that in lots of videos already. It's where me and Matt do all the welding for the time being. Hopefully that'll grow as we move. There'll be a few more welding stations, hopefully. But yeah, for the time being, it's just me and Matt that do all the fabrication. So it's a nice timepiece in this video that we can look back on in 5 years' time. So this is where we keep all of the, or the majority of the fabrication components that Fadco sells, and some of the ones that we use as well. So we've got all of the exhaust flexes, the flex bellows, nominal bore pipe and bends for tubular manifolds. We've got silencer shells. Again, these are kind of cut and replenished on an almost daily basis at times, so that's something that we need to organise better. They need to be in a better location. Again, it's like because we've kind of grown around the space, sometimes things haven't ended up in the locations where we'd like them, and sometimes it's more hassle than it's worth to reorganise everything. So moving's a really good opportunity to reorganise all these kinds of things. You know, get these all in the places they need to be. It's not that it's unorganised, it's just that we can be a bit more efficient if they were in different places. And then all down here we've got all of the enhance manufactured exhaust stock. So we've got like M140 systems and downpipes, and then at the end here we've got like ST250. But we've been trying to, if possible, run down on stock on the kind of less popular items if possible, so that we've just got less stuff to move. So it's looking a little empty up here at the minute, which is a good thing, because it means that we haven't got loads of stuff to move. But it's going to mean that we've got a lot of work to do, and we do get moved because we've got to build that stock back up again. So yeah, this is where we keep all of the kind of finished exhaust stock. One aspect of the mantle bender is all the different sizes of tooling. So if you want to bend 2.5 inch tube, you need the correct dies and clamps for that 2.5 inch tube. So we've got like 6 or 7 different sizes. And so yeah, again, that's even more stuff to store. It's really heavy stuff as well, but that's something we're hopefully going to be growing. As we get moved, we'll be able to invest in more tooling and then offer more sizes of mantle bends. So the Fadco side of things isn't something we really talk about much in enhanced videos, but it's like a whole other business that's grown pretty rapidly over the last year. So yeah, definitely looking to do more with that and bring more people in to help grow that. So that's really exciting. That's something that's definitely it's just something different. Yeah, obviously Enhance is all kind of fabricated products, and then Fadco, it's us kind of selling or manufacturing and selling a lot of the components that we use in our own systems. So things like silencers, we manufacture all those in-house, so we sell them. Same with bends. If you don't have access to all the equipment to do them, it can be really difficult. So for other exhaust fabricators that don't have the equipment or don't have the time, or like home shop fabricators, things like that, we offer all that kind of whole range of components you need to fabricate at home. So that's something that I'm really excited about, and we've got loads that we're going to do with that in the future. Yeah, that's pretty cool. When it comes to like all the abrasive cutting and sanding we do, and all the polishing and things like that, we try and do all that in here. This is the grinding room or abrasives room. Like when it comes to like sawing tube and things like that, it doesn't really matter that we do that in the workshop. It doesn't really create any dust. But when it comes to all of the abrasive stuff, as you can see from the colour of these flaps, it gets very dusty and very dirty, which is why we try and do all of that in here. So yeah, as you can see, the kind of crap that's created whilst cutting, sanding, polishing is pretty incredible. So I always wanted a room to keep it all in, and this has definitely been great for that. I definitely recommend any fabricator do it. Even if you haven't got much space, you know, make yourself a really small room, because we have so much less crap in the workshop. We have to sweep up less, we have to wipe benches down less. Like brand new stock gets less dusty and dirty. It is definitely, you know, if you've got a smaller workshop where you can't move parts away, out of the way, then you know you need to be able to kind of separate the dirty jobs from the clean jobs. Again, if you're doing lots of sanitary welding, you don't really want to be having to clean all the time. So yeah, it was definitely a requirement, and hopefully at the new place we're going to have like a V2 of this. So we're going to have a bit more extraction in here, hopefully a lot better sealed. I would like a kind of full-on, almost negative pressure room, so it's just constantly drawing air out of the room. It's drawing all those fine particles out. Obviously the wall should be white, but because of the dust that's created, it just clings to the walls. That makes the whole room darker all the time because it's not white in here. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to having, is like a clean grinding room. So if we got the other staircase on top of the office, this is where we keep all of the kind of enhance accessories. Here we've got hose clips in all different sizes. Again, you have to have like hundreds of hose clips and exhaust clamps, Murray clamps, and then air filters. Again, at the minute we're trying to not go crazy on restocking things. We might pay for that over the next couple of weeks as we start to run out of things, but hopefully if we stay organised we won't. But yeah, we're just trying to get to a point where we haven't got loads of stuff to move. And then we've got all the silencer baffles. Again, because we make all our own silencers in-house and we also sell silencers, we need to make sure that we've got all of the silencers you need. So if you want to make a 3.5 inch OD, 1.25 ID silencer, you'll need that baffle. And then if you want to make an 8 inch OD with a 3 inch ID offset silencer, you'll need this kind of baffle. So we have to have hundreds of baffles, and it's another area where we have realistically just run out of room to stock the levels of stock that we need nowadays. So yeah, that will grow as we get moved as well. Means more range and less out of stock products. Here's where we keep all of the tubular manifold kit components. So we've got like hoses and heat sleeving, manifolds, downpipes, all the kind of fixtures and fittings. It's really not organised at the minute. It's a bit I'm ashamed to say it's not very organised, but again, that's something that will change. We're just kind of in a bit of a transitional period, you could say, where we've reached the limit of what we can do with the amount of time we've got. So we're going through the process of implementing a stock control system, and that's hopefully going to help with all that. And then down here we've got more fabrication components. So this is all our laser cut flanges. So if you want a flange for a 1.4 turbo coarser downpipe, you need one of these, or an Astra J VXR primary downpipe, you need one of these. So again, we have to have quite a lot of these kinds of things. We try not to have too many. We try to kind of order as we need from the laser cutters, but sometimes you end up with overstock or whatever, or it's kind of work in progress, so it just lives up here. And then we've got our kind of machined head flanges, so of course the VXR ones, and then we've got cast stuff, so Hypex RB26 head flange, got one of those, got a couple of Mitsubishi 4G63 head flanges. We've got kind of loads of like random stuff that you just need. Cast collectors, all the cast collectors we use for the tubular manifold fabrication, they're all there. And then things like hanger bullets for exhausts, O2 sensor bosses. Again, we have to stock these things in thousands because we have to get them manufactured in thousands to get them for a reasonable price. So it means that there's a lot to store, and then it all has to be stored kind of in a way that it can be found and neatly. And this is probably quite neat to some people's standards, I don't know, but it's definitely not neat to me. We definitely need to be a lot neater with it. And then this side we've got all of our kind of vehicle specific V-band flanges, so that's like an Astra HVXR downpipe flange, and then we've got like an ST250 downpipe flange. So again, we have to keep all these kinds of things because it's either work in progress or it's overstock, or it's like what I tend to call like JIC stock, so it's just in case we need to make an emergency batch or something like that. Or maybe if we're going to make a batch of 20, or maybe order 25. That way if we sell them a lot faster than we would normally do, we can make an extra batch of 5, and it means that we're not going to run out of stock, because running out of stock is bad and that makes angry customers. And then here is where we keep a lot more of enhanced products, mainly enhanced fabricated products. So like these are all the intake pipes for kits, so induction kits. This is of course a DVXR polished intake pipe, and then that would go with you know, the silicone for that kit. So again, in here we've got lots of different colours of silicone for all the different kind of kits. We did used to try and stock all colours for all kits. It was probably a bit ambitious, mainly because the lead times for hose manufacturing can be quite long at times, because they're all handmade, and the businesses that manufacture them are all quite small. Everything's all handmade, so it just became a continuous problem to try and have these different colours in stock. So like the start of the year, we went to the kind of just stocking red, blue and black, and then all of the other colours were like made to order, like with a 2-week lead time. But that might change in the future. We'll see. But yeah, we've got some cool things coming next year, maybe. So keep your eyes peeled. Very cryptic. So yeah, I'll go through to the office. But yeah, I always needed an office because, again, like when you're fabricating things, you kind of you need a clean space where you can do your paperwork and things like that. And you know, obviously, if you've got video editing and photo editing and all those kinds of things happening. So yeah, we've got a 3D printer down there, which usually is running. It's kind of annoying, but that's going to have its own room when we get moved as well, so you don't have to sit and listen to the 3D printer for 12 hours a day. Yeah, try and plan out content on the wall, things like that. Again, it's a bit of a mess, but not much to the office really. It's probably a bit boring if you're interested in fabrication and car parts. And then we've got the kitchen, where kitchen things happen, like tea, which is great. You can make a brew. And microwaving, and random whiteboard for talking about. I'm going to turn that off actually, so it's going to be really noisy. Random whiteboard that we use for like stock products or like work in progress, or just to remind. It's a physical reminder when I'm stood here making a cup of tea of things I need to work on or things I need to have in progress. And then this is where Talon works dispatching parcels all day long so that everybody can get their stuff. So this is like Matt's jam station. So you'll see he's got his loaf of bread with his cookies, obviously, because that's a really good diet. He's got his loaf of bread and cookies, and then we've got the jam drawer in the fridge, which is where he keeps all of his jams. So we've got some strawberry jam there, some orange marmalade, and then some more strawberry jam. Again, that's like Matt's jam drawer. That's where he makes all of his jam sandwiches every day. Matt has, or sometimes jam bagels. But usually bread based, always jam based. More random crap in the doorway, like Z19 engines. Now that isn't going to move with us. That's going in the scrap bin. But yeah, I think that's it. So the next video should hopefully be a tour of the new place. We've been doing a lot of work to it. We've, you know, it's been a bit of a labour of love, doing lots of crap jobs that you wouldn't really normally want to do. But we're getting there with it. It's definitely going to be a big step forward for us. It's going to allow us to do loads more things that we're all really excited about. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. We'll see you next time.